Welcome to Disrupt and Discuss with your hosts, E and KayCee. A Boucher Ventures production brought to you by Just E TV and My Herba by the Fitness Collective. Now, without any further ado, disrupt and discuss.
Hey,
Hello.
how's everybody doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing good too. I'm happy to be here today.
All right. That side said something different, but I'm going to go with it. All right.
We're going to go with it. You
Yeah.
guys, welcome to Disrupt and Discuss. I am E,
And I am KC.
and together we are D&D. And you can call us whichever one, Disrupt and Discuss or D&D, whichever one you want to call it. But today, you guys, today we are still in the mode of celebrating Black history. So by the time you see this, it's going to be Black History Month. And we thought we would bring another one to you guys around the same framework of Black history and add on a little bit of Valentine's Day to it. With this one, we are going to name this one, the topic of today is going to be the power of Black love, inspiring legacy, resilience, and joy. So we kind of like coupled Black History Month and Valentine's Day since they're both in the same month. And we're going to dive into the beauty and the resilience of Black love. Black love isn't just like romantic relationships, but it's also about community, it's about family, it's about legacy building and the strength that inspires our future generations. So that's what we're going to tackle today. We're going to explore the meaning, obviously, its cultural and historical significance, how it's celebrated despite systemic challenges, and settle in as we discuss the power of Black love in all its forms. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Let's do this. Well, okay. My question is to you, E. What is Black love? What is your definition? Okay. I know that's on the spot. Okay.
It's a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, as you think about it, I'll just give my little spiel. To me, Black love is more than a relationship. It's a social movement, as you stated. It uplifts, it celebrates love in all forms while addressing systemic challenges that Black couples uniquely face. And when we're talking couples, it doesn't necessarily mean the romanticizing part of couples. It could be a sisterhood, it could be male female friends, but it is the love that Black folks have. Just like when I'm on my conversation with my friends and everything, one of the things we'll say before we get off the phone, hey, love you, or the term of endearment, sis, all of those kind of things that go with it. So again, when you're saying it encompasses everything, and of course the romantic sides of it as well, and it's a celebration of beauty, strength, resilience, love, within the Black community, including, as we said before, romantic partners, familial bonds, and even platonic connections that nurture our communities. So I said it in two different ways, but it all means the same.
Right.
But it's also intentional. And again, I when I talk about intentional, it always comes down to the form of, hey, sis, just anybody. And walking down the street, I remember as a kid, my father would see another Black man and they would go, what's up?
Exactly.
And I would go, Dad, do you know him? No.
No.
Oh, okay. Black love stands for a counter narrative to the harmful stereotypes about Black relationships, rejecting the narratives of dysfunction often perpetuated in mainstream media. It's about showing the world and ourselves that our love is valuable, complex, and worth celebrating. I know that's a mouthful.
Absolutely.
But so I digress to you. What is Black love? Is it anything that I haven't mentioned already?
No, you did it all company. You did a 360. So you didn't do a 180, you did a 360. I think you did a great job with regards to like breaking down what it is, it's all encompassing in our community with our relationships, both romantic and non-romantic, our bonds,
Sure.
our brotherhood, and our sisterhood. So I definitely agree with what you just stated.
Oh, for sure. And then there's also the social and cultural significance of Black love as well. To understand Black love fully, we have to examine its context. Systemic racism has had a profound impact on Black relationships and families. The economic strain, historical and ongoing discrimination in housing, education, and employment has created financial stress in Black households. Income inequality limits access to resources, making it harder for families to build wealth. And stability. A lot of times you see those stories or movies where it's a one income family. Well, in my family and growing up down the road, there was always two incomes,
Right.
whether a family member would maybe had been a domestic,
Right.
and one of them was a domestic, but then she worked on UC Berkeley's campus as one of the domestics there, while my grandfather worked on the railroad. He might not have been in the household that often because he was on the road, but yet and still it was a two-family income. There wasn't the whole Leave It to Beaver setup where she stayed at home while he brought home the bacon. It just was not, that wasn't even heard of. It was just a
Right.
given that both people were out there working. And then you have the mental and emotional health. The constant exposure to racism, discrimination, and bias takes a toll on your mental health, whether you realize it or not. This often leads to increased stress and trauma, which can impact communication, intimacy, and emotional resilience within relationships. I know when we did the one segment on toxic work environments, having to come to work ready to fight, but not look like you're ready to fight, that was a fine line that I had to walk all the time. And I didn't walk in like I was pissed off, but in the back of my mind, it's like, all right, you come at me, I'm ready. I'm ready. No, you
Right.
you have to be. But then you don't want to have that stigma, oh, you're angry or you're unapproachable. So then you have to go like you have to just again walk that fine line. And then it
Right.
also comes down to relationship dynamics, the cumulative, effects of systemic racism, from financial strain to intergenerational trauma, which can create challenges in maintaining strong family dynamics. But there's a but
But
Black love endures. It finds ways to thrive even under pressure. And we all know that what is it? You get diamonds out of pressure from coal.
pressure
Is that
brings
correct? Or
diamonds.
did I just
Yep.
make a liar? Okay.
Pressure makes diamonds. That's right.
This resilience is a testament to the strength of Black communities who continue to support and uplift one another. And again, they don't show this enough. They don't talk about this enough. There are those close-knit families besides what you see on social media or to get clickbait or to perpetuate the stereotypes. Not everybody is walking around in the hood. Not everybody's walking around with pants hanging off their ass and
Right.
doing all this stuff looking like you're ready to go out to a club. That's not the way things
No.
are. But when people see that, that's what they think. And then there's the representation of Black love in media. And for the longest time, Black love stories were underrepresented in mainstream media. And I know one of the reasons they didn't want to even think about Black people being sexual beings. Now, sexual objects, yes.
There's a
Sexual
difference.
beings to one another, making love to one another. No,
Right.
they did
Right.
not want to see that. They wanted you to be that prostitute, that pimp, the person in jail.
Right.
That's what they could relate to or wanted
The very
to have.
promiscuous.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. And so it
A
just
lot of
was
that is
one.
still today, to be
Yeah,
honest.
it's getting, and the reason why I say it's getting better is because a lot of other Black people are doing independent stuff. They're not necessarily banging on the doors to the main movie houses or the major, what do you call them?
Oh, the major filmmakers.
Networks,
Yep.
yeah, filmmakers, networks to put our films out there. "Oh, this would be great if you tweak this, tweak that." No, now everybody is, like, saying, "You know what? Instead of me trying to get to the table, I'm bringing my own table, and I'm gonna set it the way I want it set." So that's
Right.
how things are happening now. For again,
Kind
like
of
I
like
said, a
indie
lot.
feeling. What is that? Indie? Indie filming?
Yes,
Indie films? More independent
yeah.
films?
Exactly. When we would appear in mainstream media, they would often fall into harmful stereotypes, hypersexuality, which we had talked about, dysfunction,
Mhm.
or conflict driven narratives. And one of the things I was telling you about was one of the TV shows or movies that came to mind when I was a little kid. As some of you out there might remember, some of you might not, movie Claudine with Diane Carroll and James Earl Jones. And when I was a kid, it was good seeing somebody that looked like me. But then as I got older, I got to really seeing what it was about.
Right.
And the whole thing about the male not being in the household. She was on welfare and she would get money, but then she would have to hide all the nicer things that she had in her home because she got a certain amount of money and she didn't want that to affect the money that she was getting in. So not only were you depriving yourself of the nicer things of life, but you also had to deprive yourself of that man. So then
Correct.
all of a sudden, you didn't need him in the house. So
Correct.
then as time went on, that was the norm. And so those are the things that kept being pushed out there. And that was the narrative that was being said constantly. But as we
And
said, things are changing. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you trying to get a word in edgewise?
no, I was going to say that narrative, that stereotype still exists, unfortunately, which has caused a lot of Black households to be the way they are now, being children being raised by single mothers or two-parent households, or men foregoing, actually knowing that this is going to take place and are okay with it, okay with not being in the household. It has definitely perpetuated a lot of situations in our community that are very unhealthy.
I agree. In recent years, we've seen more nuanced and diverse portrayals of Black love. So we're starting, like you said, we're starting to see some more than
Right.
before. And again, the whole indie portion of it is what's really happening. And again, this had nothing really to do about Black love, but I remember when Spike Lee's first movie came out, She's Gotta Have It.
Oh God, yeah.
I know, but no, just hang with me for a second. When we were talking about the whole indie portion,
Right,
making
right.
your own way. Yeah, he did it. And
Absolutely.
then and later on he did some other ones, but again, not waiting for the main people to say, yeah, giving you the green light. He did it. And
Absolutely.
it was phenomenal. I mean, it was a really I think about it now and look back and every once in a while when I see it, I'm like, really? But back then, I remember waiting in line at the Grand Lake Theater to go see that movie.
Right. Mine for Spike Lee was School Days. School Days was the one for me. And
Ah,
that coupled with what was the Cosby spinoff? It's a
different world. Yep.
different world, that society of the HBCUs, and
Mm-hmm.
also not glamorizing, but showing you the stigmatism or colorism of it all within the HBCUs and how things were, it exposed some things for us that we knew it was unspoken,
Yes.
but it was more put on the forefront. This is what really goes on in not only HBCUs, but in a lot of communities, and not just Black communities either. That's another conversation for another day, but most definitely in our community.
Tiki Barber here. I remember those grueling practices, pushing through fatigue and striving for greatness. Well, that's the same dedication My Herba puts into their supplements. They understand the body's needs. My Herba takes a holistic approach to wellness. Whether it's their CMOS, immune defense, or even sleepy time, they have an option for you. Let My Herba make the best you with code BARBER10 for 10% off at thefitnesscollectif.com.
Well, I agree. But there was the movies that highlight the beauty of strong, healthy relationships as well. If I don't know if you remember Love and Basketball.
Yes.
My girls watched it over and over again. And The Best Man, the series
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there was a little bit of counterbalance there. TV shows like Blackish, and of course the one we talked about earlier, Insecure.
Yeah. Yes.
I definitely was there for that. And the joys and challenges of relationships, it's authentic and it was relatable. I can go, whew, I'm glad I'm not out there anymore. But it was like, okay, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I remember that. Or I don't want to remember that. And then music and literature have always celebrated Black love, from the soulful devotion of Donny Hathaway and his daughter Layla. She's good too.
Very so.
Yes, songs to the depths of novels like Color Purple and Beloved. Now, I haven't seen Beloved. I've seen Color Purple, but
Oh, I've seen Beloved.
yeah, I don't know. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I haven't seen it.
No.
Mm-mm.
These two movies and the person that produced these movies, for me, it wasn't a portrayal of, I guess it was love back then, or the Black family or the Black situation back then. But, ooh, Lord, if you watch Beloved, it's a lot.
I don't need a lot. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this representation matters. I remember back in the day, and it just movies when you're looking at Native Americans, and then you have somebody that is the furthest thing from Native American, and you look closely, you can see the base color on their face. It was, again, it's a slap in, it's literally, pardon the pun, but a slap in the face.
Right.
When you have all these actors that are out here that can do the job, but still you're not going to bring them on. You're going to bring on somebody else to portray them. So
Right.
we don't need you, or Sandy, Sally, whoever. We don't need you. We're going to get this person to play you.
Right.
It's one of those kind of things.
Really? That person looks nothing like. I know acting is, what did they say? It's art. Doesn't necessarily have to be identical, but at least get a little bit of something. I shouldn't be looking at somebody that, was it like Diane Carroll? I shouldn't be looking at, what is it? Cardi B playing Diane Carroll. That doesn't make sense. Or
I'm going to keep
it doesn't make sense. I'm quite sure we can find somebody else to play Diane Carroll. That's just an example, people. Don't come for me, but it's just an example.
But it still comes down to that representation matters.
Absolutely.
It normalizes the beauty of Black love, which we're talking about today, and inspires us to see our relationships in all their complexity and joy.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that. So let's talk about challenges of joy of Black love. Well, let me go back up, because there was something you said earlier that I forgot to say that I wanted to say with regards to, I know. It was in regards to the economic part. So the economic strain. When you were talking about historical ongoing discrimination of housing, education, and the created of financial stress. Now, currently, they would say there are more Black millionaires today than there ever were. However, there's not a lot of Black legacy, meaning a lot of this Black wealth that we have is temporary, and it's not going to, it will not transfer over in the next 20 to 50 years. It will kind of be one and done unless we make some serious changes in the way we see money, the way we produce money with regards to within our community, having that Black dollar circulate within our community.
What was it? Like 6 or 8 times before it goes out, or
before
something
it goes
like that?
out. Yeah. On the average, it stays 6 hours in our community, and most other communities, it stays 30 days.
Yeah.
So until we change some things like that, also look at investing. And I know this is not Black love. It's a part of it. If you love your people, if you love your family, if you love your children, that's Black love. You want to create a legacy. You want to create some type of, in the Bible, it says a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. So you want to leave something, an inheritance. Other communities leave inheritance to their children's children. And I believe that's showing love towards your family. You're sustaining them. We definitely need to change that mindset. So I just wanted to say that really quickly, because it popped in my mind, but you were flowing and I didn't want to cut you off.
I'm sorry. Put your hand up next time.
I didn't want to cut you off in mid-flow. You definitely need to look at stuff like that in our community. That shows that we love ourselves as well, to look at our future as a society, as a community, and moving forward to create legacy and to create inheritance for our children's children. So now I'm going to get back to the challenges. and joys of Black love. Black love is it's powerful, right? But it isn't without challenges. We all know this. Limited dating pools is one of the challenges that's out there. And I have a show, shameless plug, tap in on it's usually on Sunday nights, but we deal with a lot of times the systemicness of the limited dating pool. And we go back and forth a lot. There's a lot of healthy banter with regards to this situation. And so hopefully they'll appreciate that I'm bringing this up with regards to the systemic racism that can limit the economic and social opportunities within these limited dating pools. So it impacts the diversity and the size of the dating pool. There's also colorism and stereotyping. We talk about that a lot with regard. We don't talk about it a lot, but it is a part of some of the challenges, the internalized biases and societal pressures that can influence how Black men and women view themselves and each other. There's a lot that goes on right now with if you don't look a certain way, if you don't dress a certain way, if you don't have a certain exoticness to you, a lot of times you're not chosen. And men, if you're not necessarily considered like an alpha, or if you don't have the right type of cash flow or resources, as they would like to say, then that kind of puts you at the bottom of the dating pool. So there's a lot of restrictions that happen with regards to when you're trying to find Black love. There's a lot of challenges when you deal with it. So oh, go ahead. I see.
No, I was just thinking back when, and it goes back to high school or even single days. You don't realize that some of these people have peaked. And I use the term loosely when you're in high school. Then you have there's like the one person that was beautiful. She just, or he just looked a certain way.
Right.
Then you see them years later
at the school reunion, class reunion.
School reunion, you run into them at Home Depot or something. You probably walk right past them. I'll put it that way.
Right.
And you're like, well, what the fuck happened to you? This used to, and I don't mean anything tragic happened. When that person was like really the cutie pie, or this guy had all the, like back in the day when they had the curls and they were yanging.
Yep.
They peaked. Yep. Because that dude back in the day that had the long hair,
pretty curly hair, right?
Yeah,
didn't have a Jerry curl.
Well, the one that did, they're bald. Why was it thin and yanging? Because her hair was thin. And again, seriously, then they were peaking junior, senior year. Now, 20, 30 years later, he's bald.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why it was yanging, because he had none. That one girl that she could eat anything or do anything,
stayed skinny.
That same appetite. Now she's all cattywampus looking and stuff. It's like,
she got a big back. She got a big back.
Yeah. And it's like, what happened? So it's funny when you're in high school, you're thinking, oh, I'm not this, I'm not that. The dating pool, even back then, is small. But then you're like, as time went on, you're like, you know what? I might not have been the best looking thing there, but then as time goes on, the ones that didn't look so great, it's home. Right. She'd been hollering over at that corner. Yeah.
You get an eyeful when you go to that 10-year and that 20-year anniversary. Oh, Lord. You be like, woo, wasn't you the wide receiver on the varsity team? And now
they are the wide receiver.
Yeah. Right?
Right? Were you at my reunion? Did you go with me?
Oh, it always turns out like that.
Oh, always. Man. Yeah. I'm like, do you see the same teeth I'm looking at?
Yeah.
It
happens.
Oh,
you want to give yourself a big up, bring yourself, go to your class reunion, especially if you have held or you have managed to maintain some things. I'm just going to put it like that. Go ahead to your class reunion. Go ahead. You'll see.
Proceed with caution is what I say. Proceed with caution.
Let us know in the comments. Have you seen any of your class reunions? I honestly have not. I've gone to someone else's, but from the same high school that I went to. And they were like, it was like 2 years after me, their graduating class. And I went, even then, I was like, damn.
Some of these folks look rough. I'd say, was the last 30 years rough?
They were rough. Pat yourself on the back For the ones that are still, you're doing your thing, or you weren't necessarily there in high school, but God dang it, you have blossomed. Pat yourself on the back right now. Right. So moving on in this,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
our no,
Yeah.
that we needed that laugh. We needed that laugh
Yeah.
because it's true. It's true. Like I said, despite the obstacles, these are, they're immense joys, shared experiences like dating within the Black community often provides a unique sense of understanding and connection through shared cultural experiences. And we were talking about this just earlier, what your grandmother said, and I'm gonna let you input what your grandma said about
Well,
this.
okay. And I was telling E, if my grandmother were alive today, she would be close to 100 years old. So her thinking, I preface it, her thinking
Right.
is like that. And back in her time, she was like, no, you didn't date outside your race. And if you did, it was a secret. You didn't bring them home. But her thing was there's no reason for Black folks to go out of their race because we have an array of colors. Again, don't kill me in the comments because this is from a would-be 100-year-old woman saying
Right.
this. You've got there's a vast color range of Black. That was one of the beautiful things of the Black culture itself is the array of color.
Right.
So if you wanted somebody way extremely dark on one side to extremely light on the other side, you have that option.
Right.
And that's why, and as you say, colorism was alive and well and still is, because that's exactly how she felt. And I know you remember, and there still is that going on, the brown paper bag test.
Yep.
People just don't talk about it as much, but it is still there to a certain degree.
Absolutely. It was in my family, especially on my dad's side, because my dad is from Louisiana. He's from New Orleans. They're Creole, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, looking at me, I am actually darker skin with comparison to my dad, comparison to a lot of folks on my dad's side of the family. So there was definitely, if you don't bring them home, you got, that color, that paper bag, that brown paper bag test. They had to be at least that color of that brown paper bag or lighter to sustain that look, that phenotype. So
And
you definitely
that's
had
how it
to.
was with the sororities, certain
Yep.
sororities. And I'm not going to call them out because I have respect for all of them.
Right.
But there was one in particular that if you didn't pass the brown paper bag test, you wouldn't even be considered.
Correct.
Period.
Yeah. Period. Yeah. So it's you're not lying. I experienced it on my dad's side of the family. So it is what it is. But you are correct. We do have an array. We are a bouquet of flowers. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And
just
we know who we are, the ones that
exactly.
that are extremely light. Like my family up in Pacific Northwest, there were some that actually look white and there were some that look Black. So my dad and his family would go up north maybe once or twice a year or whatever for a family reunion, but they always met at a park. They never went to the family's house that were white because they didn't want the other neighbors to know
Correct.
that they were actually Black or that they had Black in their family.
Absolutely.
So they always had a gathering, but it was at a park.
Yeah, they like to pass. They were passing
Mm-hmm.
as. And I had a uncle on my mama's side who did that. He passed as white and, in the military and all that stuff. So he didn't want to be seen, with certain parts of the family to keep the facade up. So yeah, absolutely. It's a thing. Has happened,
But
still happens to this day.
oh yeah, but what they don't realize is that as you get older, those features really start to become prominent. So again, we know who we're related to. You can walk
Right.
past somebody and go, okay.
Yep.
And you just move
Absolutely.
on. But you're not getting away. You're getting away, but you're not getting away.
Did you ever see that? And this is topic adjacent into Imitation of Life, the movie
Oh
Imitation of
God,
Life.
I cried every time I saw that. Yes, yes.
Yeah. If you ever want to know what we're talking about, if you don't understand what we're talking about, get the film Imitation of Life and it will personify this conversation that we're having right now. So So let me talk about this community support. The Black community offers a strong network of family, mentors to guide you and uplift relationships. Now, some people will argue that doesn't exist. I will say it does. It just depends on where you are. It depends on where you are in your community. It depends on what you believe in, what you subscribe to. But there's a lot of mentorship. Sometimes it comes in the form of joining some type of girls club or boys club in basketball or football. There's all types of mentors that come up
Right.
in those types of communities. But if you're not into that, then you may not find that. You may not get that. Also in the church, if you go to church, any type of spiritual institution, there's a lot of mentorship. So some, like I said, some may argue that it doesn't exist, but I think it does. It's just if you really want something, if you're really seeking something, you will find it. It's just, it's not always apparent to you, but if you're seeking it, you will find it. Legacy building. Black love is about creating something lasting, passing it down traditionally. Wealth, I was just talking about this, wealth and pride to the next generation. It's all about legacy building. And it takes, I feel that's something that is missing in some instances, in some communities, but there are a lot of people. Here I am in my bubble. But there are people who have this and they hold it dear, and they sometimes they don't let people inside, because some people, if you let some others or outsiders inside, they like corrupt it. So it's not necessarily spoken about, but it does exist. Now when you say that it doesn't, again, I will challenge you. What's the situation? In a lot of circumstances, yes, that is the case, but there are a lot of folks still in the Black community that hold on to traditions in their family, to the wealth in their family. They legacy build, but some people frown upon it because it comes with structure. It comes
Oh,
with,
for sure.
you know what I'm saying? It comes with
Hmm.
you abiding by, you falling under, being covered by someone, that household, that male, that marriage, and it's been passed down. Is that common anymore? Not as common, but it does exist. So we're trying to highlight the things that are out there, that still exist, but is not as common. But we want to uplift and pay homage to the people who are still trying to create this type of Black love, this Black legacy, this Black community, because it does exist. What you got?
Yes.
Oh, then we're going to go into the factors behind successful Black marriages. So that was me. Black marriages. What makes a Black marriage last? That is the question of the day. What makes a Black relationship or marriage last? And a lot of people will say different things. For me, and I tried when I was researching this, because for me, for my marriage, and I've been married less than KayCee. So KayCee got me, but I've been in
Oh,
the
by a
game
few
for
years. That's all.
by a few years, but I've been in it almost 20 years. Me and the hubby have been married almost 20 years, and faith and spirituality played a strong role in that for us, as well as open communication. When I talk about faith and spirituality, subscribing to something that was higher than us, subscribing to the hierarchy that's within a faith-based marriage. And so when we got to that point, I would say the most contentious parts of our relationship, the first like 2 to 3 years, was outside of, we weren't in some type of like faith-based type of situation, meaning learning about marriage, a faith-based marriage. He didn't come from it. I didn't come from it. So we had to learn it, right? You were going to say something, KayCee.
Yeah, I was like, one of the things when I used to go to this one particular church, it was years ago, and they had small groups. And one of the things that we would do is my husband and I went to one of the small groups, and basically what it was, marriage counseling, but not necessarily counseling because there was a problem. Basically, it was classes that people that are going to get married take, but they just put it under a different name, and it was for married couples, period. And it was really eye-opening because we never did that. We,
Yep.
dated, lived together for a year. Then we said we're going to get married because we wanted to know if we could even stand each other than just seeing each other on the weekend.
Right.
So that was a whole nother ball of wax. Grandma had a field day with that one. You're shacking. Yes, Grandma, we
Right.
were
We
shacking.
shack it up. Yep.
Yeah, why buy the cow when you get the milk free? That
Right.
kind of stuff. But when we were taking those classes, there were different questions that were posed to us that we had never even thought about. And it was really interesting and eye-opening to where if we were just these two kids back then getting married, it would, whether we still would probably have done it, but it gave you food for thought of,
Yep.
God, do I really know this person? I mean, we were
Correct.
able to answer the questions, without any problems. Now, because we've been together for so long. But if you're just meeting this person and the looks and all that kind of stuff, and you can't keep your hands off each other, when that shit dies down,
Right.
okay,
Then
or
you
as
get
my
to the
dad,
real.
yeah, you pull the covers back and open the window, then it's like, all right, now what do I really like this person? Do I
Correct.
know this person? So
Exactly.
so I think it's anybody that's going to get married or even considering something like that, or even just taking those classes, it really makes you think, do I really know this person?
Absolutely. And it's not just like KayCee said, I would highly recommend them, even if you've been married for any length of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not,
Mm-hmm.
they have them for people who are about to get married or considering marriage to sit with someone. But we actually went through the small groups you were already married. So
Mm-hmm.
there were different levels of marriage within this small group. And it was kind of like getting to know each other and going over certain books, certain aspects of the Bible that talked about marriage and what a marriage consisted of. What's the woman's role, the man's role, and then the intersection of it all, because it's not just a woman and a man. This is what a woman does, this is what a man does. There's some intersection within that. So, just learning all that stuff definitely helped us because like I said, I didn't come from a married household. I came from a single mother household. So had no clue about being a wife. And my husband, he didn't come from a married situation either. So we were kind of like trying to figure it out. But the best thing about us was probably the fact that we were communicators. When we first met, we communicated a lot. There was like, and I'm talking about open communication, having honest dialogue and fostering understandings. We actually, before we met each other, and I've never done a story, but I've given like little bits and pieces. But with us, we talked on the phone and via email because back then they still had email. They just started email, right? And
Right.
yeah, we were communicating on the phone and emailing like all the time, like for at least the first 2 to 3 months before we even saw each other. So when I saw him, I already knew him because we pretty much talked about everything under the sun about each other. We had that open communication already set before I even seen what he looked like. Now, could have went all wrong if he wasn't but he was. But yeah, we fight right. Woo! When we finally met for the first time, it was like, okay. It was just we felt like we knew each other for years. And I feel that's what's lost a lot when we're talking about people when we're so much into hookup culture right now. I think that's where things, get kind of shady, kind of shady. A lot of people don't, they don't subscribe to anything. There's no faith, there's no spirituality. So they want to figure it out on their own. And then there's no communication. Like I said, it's hookup culture. So, you meet somebody on Tinder, you swipe left, you swipe right, you talk to them for about an hour or so, y'all go out to eat. Then, the next thing you know, y'all in the,
Oh,
you
do they
doing
even
what you
eat?
do.
I think
Right?
they, yeah,
Right.
okay.
It's a different type of culture. So I feel for us, it kind of definitely helped with regards to our situation. If we had nothing else, I can say that he's like my best friend because we talk so much. I mean, literally.
Mm-hmm.
I still have the emails. I still kept all that stuff. I'm kind of like one of those with that. But
Yeah.
yeah, we had a lot of communication. And then after we did get married, we went through that small group and that helped
Yeah.
immensely. And then there's another part with regards to marriage, flexibility in roles, like adapting to challenges and shifting responsibilities, allowing couples to grow together.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I'm talking about there's a man, there's a woman role, there's a man role, but then there's some intersectionality and what that looks like in your relationship. I find that a lot of people like to tell you what you need to do, but you have to do what works for you and yours, right?
Oh, so I totally agree. Some people think, oh, well, it needs to be 50-50. Some days it is, but then there's 70-30, 80-20,
Right.
and there might be a 100% and 0 on the other person's part. It
Right.
all depends on what's going on. And sometimes you have to pick up the baton when the other person
When the other person
can't
can't.
for whatever
Exactly.
reason. It's not going to be a cookie cutter kind of situation at
No.
all.
No. And I always, when it comes to that, just like she said, it's not, sometimes it's 50-50, sometimes it's 70-30. We all you should come to a relationship 100, meaning you're 100%, that other person's 100%. No one should be trying to like, I'm depending on you to get my other 50%, meaning emotionally. A lot of people, I feel that's where it messes up, especially in relationships, that I need you to complete me. No, you should come complete, who you are, knowing who you are, but knowing that there's challenges, knowing that some things are going to happen. It ain't nothing perfect. There's always going to be dips in the
No.
flow. There are going to be ebbs and flows and everything. There's going to be peaks and valleys. So, but if you come 100% knowing who you are, both of you guys, then you can communicate better. You can work through challenges. You can work through storms. You can weather storms. But if somebody's missing that, if somebody's still challenged with something that happened to them 5 years ago, or a bad relationship or trauma that happened to them when they were younger, and they haven't moved past that, or they haven't got any healing from it, then that's where the contingency comes and things don't work out, to where it opens up a shitstorm of stuff.
Well, again, and that's why when you do those marriage classes or whatever the small group classes were, you find those things out. You might not know exactly, but then you can touch upon something to go, that explains this.
Exactly.
What is
It
that book?
helps.
What is it? Yeah. Because there's that book. What is it? Somebody, let me see. Men are microwaves, women are crock pots.
Yeah.
I can't.
We're slow, and they're like, it's instant in a nutshell. But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you do, because I screwed that one up again.
No, but what you're saying is true. Like we're saying, you need to, if you go into any type of relationship thinking everything, then you've already messed up. If you can't accept some type of mentorship, read some type of book, get some clarity, or be able to communicate openly and not hold grudges against the person that, what is it they call now? It's on TikTok. We listen, we don't judge. I don't know how far I could go with that, but you do need to be able to listen to the person that you claim you love, you claim you want to be in a relationship with, and have some type of open communication to get clarity, and not take what that person is saying to you and use it against them later on in life or somewhere down the line.
And another thing, this is one of the things that I definitely don't do. I can't get with the younger generation. Yes, I'm putting my age out there in a sense. They post everything in their relationship. Then you wonder
some
why.
Grown ones that do it too. There's some grown ones that do it too.
Yeah, well, I probably aren't friends with them either. But the thing is, you don't want people in your business, but then you want to tell your business. And then when you hear something that you don't like, now you got an issue with that person.
Exactly. Now you making posts about them. But exactly, you shouldn't be. They say, stay out your business, stay out my business. They want to be in their own echo chamber. They want everybody to agree with them. And yeah, that's crazy. I've never subscribed to that. I would encourage someone to never subscribe to putting your marriage, your relationship on social media for the masses to judge on. Is just not a good look personally. And you're opening those people that are agreeing with you, they love to see crash outs. That's my personal opinion. They love to see crash outs.
And then you and your husband or your partner or whatever have gotten back together. You moved on from that. You still got about 8 to 10 plus people back here that are still seething from what you just said.
And that goes with family too. That's why I'm a firm believer in not letting your family in your business. And I know certain people will say, I have a good relationship with my mom or a good relationship with my dad. And that's all fine and dandy. I say, if if you have that good relationship and they have a healthy marriage that you can glean from, then okay. But most of the time, people are telling their best friend, their girlfriend, their mama who's been single, never been married, their daddy who out there running the streets, ain't never settled down with one woman at all. These are not people that you should have in your relationship, telling them about your relationship. Because guess what? You get them, you tell them, and you're telling them all about your relationship. They giving you horrible advice.
Or
Number
as
one.
one of my besties would say, they're giving you dark counsel.
I like that. Dark counsel. Exactly. They are giving you dark counsel. Exactly. Misery loves company. Number one.
Absolutely. Yep.
And then you also get that second step. So say for instance, you dog that person out, your significant other, the person you with, you dogged them out, left, talk bad about them, but then you turn around and go back. So now we have this unhealthy way of looking at you and your relationship, that other person. We like, you just told me blah, blah, blah. You fill in the blanks with your own stuff.
Yep.
But now you're going back to them. So now this person coming to family functions and you feel some type of way because they done told you all kind of,
and they ain't even the
shady-
wiser. Hey, how's it going? How's it going? And you're
Right.
like, that motherfucker.
right, right. And it's like that. Those are the two things you should. Don't tell your family members, don't tell your friends, especially if you plan on going back. And I know some people are like, I didn't plan on going back. Okay, if this is your modus operandi,
Yes.
meaning you've been going back to people all the time, like numerous times. This is not your first rodeo. You're constantly going back to, people that you've been dating your whole all your relationships. This is who you are. So stop telling people your business. Stop telling people your business.
Because sometimes that person you're telling the business to, they're taking notes.
Yes, that's another thing.
And yeah,
your
making a
girlfriend
quick
ain't
run.
always your girlfriend. Okay, your girlfriend ain't always your girlfriend.
You make that quick run to Costco, and you come back home. Oh, I was just here waiting for you. No, you weren't.
No, you weren't. Exactly. That girl code. Yeah.
You hear about that from time to time. There's always a story about that.
Exactly. And that's another thing. You don't want to tell.
You gave her the you gave the blueprint. You gave them.
Don't want to tell your girlfriend. I don't care if y'all sitting up at the bar or having a good time drinking girls' night and y'all start talking about your relationships and your sexual relationship with your significant. You don't
your prowess.
You don't tell your girl, your auntie, your cousin, nothing about your man's anatomy. Exactly. And what he can do.
Yeah.
Right. And what he can do. So young ladies, older ladies, who's ever in earshot of what I'm saying, stop running your mouth to your family and your friends about your man's stuff and how he satisfies you. It ain't a good look. And you get mad if he messing with him. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to get off my soapbox. All right.
Just let your face be radiant. Your face is radiant. That says it all.
Now
what's that you're using? Oh, don't worry about it. But I use it quite frequently.
I use it quite frequently. Okay. Don't ask me how many times, but I use it quite frequently.
And I'm not.
Exactly. Now let's talk about this, the last one, and then we're going to go to the next topic. You should have a shared vision. So, no, I think I did that. Yeah, we talked about legacy. So we're going to get off of it. We're going to get off of it. I talked about legacy, talked about the purpose of legacy, raising your children with some type of structure. You're building this united purpose. You're building this community. And sometimes community don't mean the masses. Most times your family is your community.
Correct.
Right? You got to build within before you can go before you can go out. So work on your family and your infrastructure before you go out and try to build the blueprint and the foundation before you go out and try to build and help somebody else build their stuff. So if I can say it that way.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to get off my soapbox. It's on you.
Okay, well, okay. Then since we've said all that, what about inspiring the next generation?
Woo!
How do we do that? Can today's Black couples inspire Gen Z and beyond to value love and relationships? I mean, I don't even know how they date. I don't even get that. So let's just start there. I don't. Like I
They
said,
rarely date.
my husband, well, before them was a blind date.
Right.
So
like I said, it's
I don't
the
know.
swipe rights, the swipe lefts, it's the hookup
And then
culture.
and then there's the speed. Do they still do speed dating? I
I
know that
don't
was a
know.
thing for a while.
I don't know if they do speed dating, but they definitely, there's a lot of people in the, I would say, the Gen Z and millennial space that are not too keen on dating these days because they feel that there's a facade, there's a fakeness to it. People are, everything that's on social media is, you only post your best things, right? Except unless you crazy with the people who put all their business out on the street. But for
Right,
the most part,
right.
you only put up the best looking pictures of you,
And you got
you know,
the filters, and
and you
you know
have the
how to do everything.
filters. Exactly. And
But I
so,
mean,
oh,
I
go
was gonna
ahead, go
say
ahead.
just even okay, you got the filters, you have all that, but even back in our day, I mean, you have makeup.
Right,
Okay, because even back then, I remember there were guys, yeah, they're looking at somebody that has makeup done correctly. Okay, they're still looking, but then they
right,
want you. Oh, you don't need to wear makeup.
right.
So
But
I know we're talking something
but
apples.
our
I think
makeup
apples
back
and
then, right? Because our makeup back then is nowhere near the
no,
beat.
it's not. But I'm just putting it in context for even
Right.
back then. But yeah, you have all these filters, you got all this stuff now. So you
Hmm.
really can't tell what the person looks like. But then back then, you had people that didn't wear makeup or they kind of tried to wear makeup or they did
Right.
it and they looked gorgeous. But here what was that one? I don't know if it was I'm gonna get you sucker. It was one when the lady took
Yes.
off
Yep. She
her
took
makeup,
off
her
everything.
hair,
Her
everything. And
butt.
that was yes. Then she took off her leg and then she's
Yep.
hopping around the room. You really don't know, honestly, what you're getting.
Correct.
But spending time with that person, you will get to know what you're getting or what you're not getting. I
Right.
mean, case in point, when I first met my husband, I had full makeup on all the time. I would get up. Now, this is really stupid, but I would get up and put makeup on beforehand. So he would always see me.
You
That
did a
was for a while.
Whitley. You did a Whitley.
Yeah, I did. But that got old and it got tiring. And then so one day I was like, I just don't have the energy. And we were getting ready to go somewhere. And he's like, you gonna put some makeup on, right?
He's like, hold
I'm
on,
like,
where'd she go?
no. He goes, oh, okay. So I mean, in all honesty, you don't, but then I had been saying I'm getting tired of putting the makeup
Right.
on.
Right.
But it's like, oh, okay. But he didn't see when it was all off. Oh,
He's
thank
like,
God
okay.
skincare is a good thing now.
Exactly. Exactly. No, but you get
But
that a lot. You get that a lot though. I mean, you have people that are like that they go to bed with the makeup on, they wake up with the makeup on, they have wigs, weaves, braids,
mhm,
everything. They're not showing their hair. I did that with the hubby. So when we met, I wore ponytails a lot. And it's funny because I'm ponytail
kind of like
pull
now.
back.
Okay. All
Right.
right.
But I used to wear like the ponytail attachment. So I used to always put these attachments on. And so when we finally met, he was like, okay, it wasn't a thing, but when I was wearing it all the time, so
Mm-hmm.
he brought up, oh, my mom has long hair, all my sisters have long hair. And I was like, I took it as like, oh, okay, he thinks that I don't have hair because I always wear these ponytails. One time, when the next time we met, next time we went out on a date, yes, we did go out on dates, you guys. Um, I didn't. I wore my hair. I pressed it out because I was natural. I didn't have any chemicals in my hair, so my hair is super thick. So it would take a lot for me to blow dry and press and da 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 da. But I did it, had it flowing. So when he saw me, he was like, and he put his fingers through it.
Ah,
I
the
was
finger
like,
test. Okay.
I was Right. It's all me, bro. It's all me. And he's okay. I was like, I caught what she was putting down. Talking about your mama's hair. And you said, he's because you be wearing a ponytail. I was like, well, you could just say what you got to say. I was like, but I caught what you were saying and I got it. I got the gist of it. So let me show you that I got hair. I just don't, this is easier. This was easier. But yes, it does take a lot when you're dealing with the makeup and the hair. And some men say they don't like it.
But again, they're looking at somebody who's got it going on. And I don't mean just like plaster, like Mimi on the Drew Carey show, but they actually have it and they look nice. And then, they're breaking their neck. But, oh no, you look fine. You don't need makeup on. Okay.
Yeah. That's not what you look at on the under. That's not what you turn to.
And it was so funny because
like big boobs, but you always looking down at something.
Yeah. But I know, like, when I first met my husband, I think I told you, I had a high top fade and it was gold or it was like blonde at the top.
Right.
And
that Kwame look.
Yeah, exactly. Minus the little cuts in the eyebrow.
Yeah.
Which they bring that back and it could have stayed. But yeah, so I had that. And then as time went on, I went to the natural look and I had locks and everything. And then so my husband said, I guess I should have been more specific. I wanted somebody with long hair, but I wasn't specific.
He did not say that.
I mean, he's fine with it. I mean, locks have come a long way. But a lot of times people think of the freeform ones, like, when you're in Peak Park and all of that. So when I started growing them over 20 plus years ago, he got to know what it was about and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, they're extremely long, but it's just, he likes long hair, but locks wasn't what he was thinking back then. It was long, flowy hair.
But you guys don't get, we've shown you, we had a couple of episodes where you had it down, but you don't get
it's long. It comes to
long.
like,
it's past her butt. Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Her hair is like way.
It's probably past that.
And we know, we've said it before, KayCee is a little bit. She's a little bit. So just imagine that hair. It's way beyond that. Her dreads are extremely long. Yeah. But hey, you didn't say which way. You said long hair. You got it. There you go. And that's another thing you have to concede with. Sometimes those things happen, right? There's some prerequisites. Like for me, I have to have hair. My husband, ain't no way. If I want to cut my hair, and some women, some of the feminists out there, they may have a problem with this, but if I want to cut my hair, that has to be a conversation. He don't want, if I came and did what KayCee did with the high top, he'd be like,
see, Aaron met me with the high top fade. It was my budding personality that drew him in. Because he's like, that was some fucked up shit.
Right. But I couldn't, if I were to do that today, it would be a problem. And vice versa. I have a prerequisite for my husband. He cannot cut off his beard without letting me know. So that lumberjack beard that I love so much, if he cut it, it's a problem. But
that's right. I've never seen him without it. Never.
And you won't. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
It's a prerequisite. Yeah. It's one of those things. It's a give and take. So I know I can't cut and I mean, like even trimming my hair. There was one time I said, okay, babe, I'm going to trim my hair. And I told him I'm cutting like 2 inches because I wanted to get it fuller. It was growing back, but it was growing back thinner. So I was like, I need to cut it. Well, I made the mistake of cutting it a little bit more than 2 inches. And he was like, that ain't what we talked about.
I can see his face. I can just see his face, just laid back. Not what we talked about.
Yeah,
what you going to do that for?
Right. I was like, but it's going to grow back quicker. It's going to grow back even quicker. I said, I really just needed to get these flyaways off. But he didn't like it because I told him a certain amount and he's, that's more than what we talked about. And I'm the same way with him. If he make a mistake on his beard and he got to shave it down a little, I'm not happy. But that's us. But we know each other. That's our agreement. So call it what you must.
Oh, jeez. And I agree. I mean, we got our little things too. I love the
Yeah.
goatee part, but he don't wear the goatee all the time, but he's got the mustache.
And so you accept the mustache. That's some facial hair, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. But if he went full on, what
Yeah,
do you
he's
call
done
that?
that. He's done that before. Mm, mm-mm,
You're gonna have to warn
mm-mm,
me before you do that, bro. We're gonna have to have a
mm-mm.
conversation.
Yeah, no, that was a glamour don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, don't you ever do that.
But really, I think also what keeping in context with everything, we do still have to challenge stereotypes because even within ourselves, we have stereotypes of different things and you can't help but not fall prey to the media. But when you hear it all the time, you kind of
Right.
find yourself even indirectly falling prey to some of the narratives that are put out there. And you have to go, you know what? Fuck, that's not right. That ain't
Right.
this. That isn't that.
Right.
So the beauty and in order and also to highlight the beauty and the strength of what we have: Black love, Black community, Black unity.
Yes.
Because again, as I keep saying, it is there. It is definitely there. Just
Absolutely.
got to keep talking about it.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I just wanted to say this really quickly. We often don't, and KayCee, I don't know if you see this or if you've ever heard this, but for me, when you were talking about Black love, Black unity, Black community, a lot of times and we don't look at each other, we don't look at ourselves like this by you being married 30 plus years. And yes, I
33
said 30,
years as of
33
December
years.
31st.
Yes. We both share the same wedding date, December 31st, but she
Yes.
33 years, you guys. And we're knocking on 20 years. But a lot of times we are when we walk around or how we portray ourselves, how we're viewed on social media, how we speak, how we act in our community, people don't say anything, but they're looking at us. They're looking at our
Yes.
relationships. And we found that out. It was crazy. We posted something about our marriage. I think it was our anniversary, and it was some years back. Got a lot of people responding, but we got a few people in our DMs like, we really appreciate you're kind of like the couple that we look at and aspire to. We watch you guys all the time, and we love the fact that how you guys interact, not only on social media, but when they see us out in the street. And we never really took that into consideration until people start saying that to us. Like, oh, we watch you guys, or when we're out just being at any type of social event, people were paying attention to us, how we interact, whether we're together or separate, how we even my daughter, and that's my bonus daughter, meaning that I didn't have her but she's still my daughter. She even notices things like just the way we communicate in the house, how we don't it's not fiery, it's not with malice, the way we interact
Hmm.
or the way we discuss things. Even if we don't agree, she can see that was never with I've never done anything or he's never done anything to tear me down or to bring it back up, or she notices the way we communicate, the way we hold ourselves, in
Hmm.
the household. And just things like that we take for granted. That's just the way we are. But people watch that. People look at that. They may not tell you that, but people are watching you. They're watching how you respond to things. They're watching how you say things. They're watching how you are on social media. They're watching how you are out and about. It's just one of those things. I don't know if you've noticed it.
No, unless I'm at the grocery store, because that's where places we usually go. So,
Yeah, we
but
get it.
but I mean, in all seriousness, I don't. I guess because you had said before, I don't know about in this episode, but in previous ones, my husband is my friend. I
Yes.
mean, this person, this guy has been there when I was going through my depression, and I couldn't get
Mhm.
out of bed. He was there.
Yep.
And just when things got really shitty financially, things I had problems with my family. Now he didn't say anything, but he was there to listen. I
Right.
can talk about him, but you can't agree with him. I know
Exactly.
your family is full of shit, but I'm not gonna say that. But he was actually there. And I think what makes it go for as many years as it has is, again, that love, the community that we have with each other. And he has been there. And when things aren't the great, even what makes it even more so appealing is that he's there when the shit got funky.
Right.
And I don't mean that every time it's always been like that, but you can really appreciate the wins when you can look back and go, well, damn, we got through all of this and I'm still with you.
Exactly.
And
Right.
here we go. I'll be transparent. Years ago, we went through a bankruptcy. Now, it was
Yes.
devastating. It can put finances as one of the main things for why people get divorced,
Yep.
separated, say fuck you and leave the relationship. And it was all those things I wanted to, but we got through it. And honestly, we're still here.
Stronger for it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we're still here. And we look back, what would seem like it was a never ending thing. It's been years now that's been there, but we still talk about it in terms of, wow, that was pretty rough. And then you have
Exactly.
kids in the equation, and that shit can go left at any given point when you've got kids, and we're
Yep.
still here. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
We are
Oh,
we are such the same. Not only did we get married on December 31st, we did the bankruptcy thing. We did the BK too. And
yeah.
yes, if you can
Yeah.
survive a BK, you anything. But all
Oh,
those
yeah.
things like test the fortitude, test the strength of your relationship. It really does. Can you weather these storms? And
Oh,
that's what
yeah.
relationship is. Can you weather some things? It's not always beautiful. It's not always lovely. It's
No, it's not. And again, when we had those classes, those are some of the issues that came up, and we're like, we did that 4 years ago. So again, ignorance is bliss to a certain degree.
yes.
We were walking right into that, but again, it makes you think. One of the things that you always hear, until death do you part. And you're like,
Yep.
oh, of course. Well, what if that person in your life gets into a accident and they're maimed?
Yep.
How do you handle that?
Yep.
Eh, it's always
Those
till
are
death do you part.
part,
There, I
right?
don't know anywhere else in the literature that says, well, if this person gets in a car accident and they don't die, but they come really damn close, and now you got to help them for the rest of your life, where are you going to be?
Exactly.
And I was like,
Exactly.
holy shit.
Yeah, those are like, but that can happen.
Yeah.
And those are
Um,
things you
uh,
need to deal with.
in a death of a child,
Yep.
and I didn't have to deal with that, but my brother passed at a very early age, and my parents had to deal with that. There's no gameplay, but these are issues that they need to be at least addressed, because when it happens, then it's right in your face.
Right.
And yeah, it my parents were already divorced and they already had other issues, but that didn't help.
Right. And
It
that's
it
when
does.
you can really tell. And like you said, even with aging parents and having to
Oh,
deal with that, some other one side of you may have an aging parent or they may have an aging parent, and now you're having to help take care of this person. They didn't sign up for that, but that's a part
exactly.
of a marriage. That is a part of a marriage. And a lot of people flee from things like, "Oh, that's too much. I didn't sign up for that." Well, you actually did.
Yes, you did.
You actually did. It just you don't think about these things that they could possibly happen. They could possibly happen to you, right?
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
yeah, those are the things that you have to consider, but it makes you stronger. And that's why certain people say that I wouldn't do it over again.
No.
But when you
I'm
are,
sorry, did I answer
she's
too
like,
quickly?
she's
No.
like, no, no, you're not the type of person to quit either. You know what
No,
I'm
same
saying?
person for 33 years.
Correct. You're not a
Yes.
quitter. I'm not a quitter. You know what I'm saying? But those things can happen. And that's what you need to realize. And I think a lot of people are soft these days. They are very like, it's me, it's I. And I didn't sign up for this. And you didn't tell me that. And yeah, all of us got some type of skeletons in the closet.
There's at least one bone falling out somewhere,
Well,
at
you
least
know what I'm
one.
saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So it's you have to I think people need to put on their big boy draws, they big girl panties,
Mhm.
and realize that it ain't always about you. There's a other
No.
ecosystem out there outside of yourself. And,
Oh,
the
I
quicker you get
agree.
to learning that about yourself and learning that this is what it takes to be a human, this is what it takes to be an adult, then I think the better off people will be.
Well, yeah, because as much as I love my husband, I can't imagine anybody else. I'm not doing it again. So I even told him, I said, if he outlives me, so be it.
So be it,
I said,
right?
but if I outlive him, I ain't getting married again. First, I'm be too old, but I ain't getting married again. I have a friend. You
She
stay
said,
at your place.
"I
I stay at my place. We might be meet on a 3-day weekend or something, and I'm making jokes, but
She like, "I am serious. I ain't doing
mm-mm,
this mess again."
I don't want to be married again. It's
Now, knowing what I know about some of these simpletons out here, I said what I said. I
mm,
don't know if they have the fortitude that, that we have. So, I don't know.
not getting
The
married
way it
again.
sounds, the
I'd
way
have a friend. That's about it. I ain't gonna
she's like,
lie. I ain't getting married again. Nope. Nope. Commitment ceremony, perhaps. Getting married, married? Nope.
"No,
Nope.
you ain't doing it."
Nope.
Okay.
I
Well,
know they
you've
say
heard it
never say
first.
never.
You
Huh?
heard it here. You heard
Yeah.
it here. I
I
know
mean, I
you
know they
might
say never say
right.
never, but
Never say never. And it might be she ended up doing it and I be the one like her. When it
no,
flipped, like hell no.
no, maybe commitment, but no. Mm-mm. Anyway, that was giving me the heebie-jeebies.
I know.
All right. What about building? We already talked about building legacy. So I
Yep.
think we beat that over
Beat that over
the
yeah.
yeah.
Over a
So
rock.
okay, let's do a little bit lighter. What is your favorite Black love movie?
I mean, do I have one really? Out of the ones that we discussed, I know the one that my husband and I we watched and we related to back in the day was what was it called? Not it wasn't Love and Basketball. It was the other one. Love Jones. Love Jones was the
Oh,
one.
that was good. I still
Yes.
play the soundtrack. When I'm
Do
in
you?
my office and I'm working, yes, I play the soundtrack.
Yes, that was the one we related to the most back in the day. We actually set up and watched it together. We had we were jonesing off Love Jones for a minute. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
okay.
For sure.
Yeah, I one of the ones that I really liked, even besides the TV shows of what is it? Not Cosby Show, but Different World. But then this
Mhm.
one is along those same lines, Boomerang. I still love
Boomerang.
Boomerang. Yes, I do. And as I was telling you earlier, I said half of us had the hairstyle from Halle Berry. It didn't, like
Mm-mm.
I said, I did. And it looked
Mm-mm.
about I only had it once, and however long it took to grow out is how long I had the style. It didn't
Me and short haircuts never get along. It doesn't agree with my face.
well, only thing with the short haircut I didn't care for was obviously if it's short haircut, it grows out. And I
Right.
don't like spending that much time or being that dedicated or committed going to the hair shop.
Yeah.
And so that in itself was a no for me for any more any time else. But and you said you didn't know this one too much, but The Photograph with Issa Rae, that was a good
Right.
one. I really liked that as well. You
Yeah, I
know.
haven't watched that one. I saw the promos for it back in the day, but I did not
Mhm.
go and see it or anything like that.
It's nothing like Insecure.
Okay.
Get
Yeah,
that
because you know how I
out of your
feel about
mind.
Insecure.
Yeah, I still loved Insecure.
I watched the first, what was it? The first series. And after that, I was over it.
I watched it
I was
all.
over it.
I was watching it all. So next time I head down to LA, I'm going to her coffee shop. So I'm
She
not
has a
going to the
coffee shop?
restaurant. She's got some
Okay.
coffee shops, yeah. I mean, her
Hmm.
name is on them. I forget what the actual name is, but she's behind that. And then there's this other restaurant that she has. It's a little rich for my blood, so I probably won't be going there, but I can at least get a coffee and a scone. How about that? I can do that. But so since we've been out here for a minute, old married couples,
Great.
what one piece of advice would you have for young couples?
Oh, I always say communicate. You got to learn how to communicate. If you can do nothing else, learn how to talk to your partner without animosity, without get back, revenge, or anything like that. Learn how to talk to one another because And I know that's a lot of people say that you got to learn how to communicate. You got to learn how to communicate. But you really should be able to, if you claim to love this person, if you claim that's your friend, that's your best friend, or you love that, I can't see myself without him, then why can't you talk to him? You should be able to tell that person what you need to tell them
Hmm.
without animosity, without malice, and without withholding sex, food, or anything from them. You know what I'm saying? You should be able
Yeah, I mean, that
to.
makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
Right. I don't like it when people say that they have a good they love their partner, but when it comes down to having a disagreement, then it's always an argument, it's always animosity. Then there's withholding of sex, withholding of you don't want to cook for them, you don't care if they live or die at that point. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that. I feel that or you bring up you will say that okay, I forgive you, but then a month later he do something wrong, you bring that very same thing back up in their face. I just don't subscribe to that. So I would say learn how to communicate better, be better communicators, be people who stop holding grudges, stop holding things against people. You got to adult. That's reality. You got to learn how to be an adult, and being an adult means you can't always it's not always going to go your way. You're not always going to be right. And there's compromise that comes within that.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things I want to add on to that from what you said, also be friends. Because
Absolutely.
not only do obviously I love my husband, but I actually like him. See,
Agree.
that's the difference. Because when the kids are grown, you hear about, oh, well, my aunt or my parents, they stayed together for the kids, but once the youngest one went away to college and they got a divorce.
Exactly.
I've heard that more than once.
Yeah.
And my kids are grown. They left. Some came back. They left. Me and my husband sometimes will get up. We're at the crack of dawn sometimes. And the way our house is situated, we have our shades open and we can watch the sun come up or
Mm-hmm.
the morning come up, however you want to look at it. And we're just talking about anything and everything over coffee.
Yep.
And that to me means a lot because we just sit, that's one of our routines that we sit and we talk and do that. And one of the things I had to work on as well is okay, you might argue and you bury the axe, but you also have to, or they say bury the hatchet, but you
Mm-hmm.
also have to bury the handle.
Mm-hmm.
You have to bury the handle because then you grab it and you throw it back and you start all over
All over
again.
again. Exactly.
So, yeah, so once you bury the axe, you bury the handle along with it.
Yep. When you forgive, when you say you forgive, that's bottom line. Be a person of your word. Be a person of your word. If you say I forgive you, walk in that. Because if you
Yeah.
don't, be honest. If you don't forgive it, if you can't, be honest. Don't lie. But I agree with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, on a lighter portion of that, we've already talked about your movie, but what's your favorite love song?
Okay. My favorite song for me and hubby is there's so many, but there's one that I can always play is India Ari. And the
Okay.
song is Truth. And I don't know if people know it. She's a neo soul singer. And that song always it takes me there when I think of my husband. He is
Mhm.
the truth. And I would sing it, but I'm not gonna sing it today. But
Thank you. Thank
look up
you.
India Ari, the truth. And I always equate that to me and him.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I have some, I was saying my old school ones, but then I said, okay, well, what about your wedding song? So for my wedding song, it was Love Ballad
Oh
by
my
Jeffrey
God.
Osborne.
You did not say
That
no Jeffrey.
Yeah, yeah,
Jeffrey.
yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Jeffrey.
And to this day, whenever I hear like the first 3 chords of that song, it gets me every time.
It gets you every time.
Yeah, because that was my wedding song.
Oh, we didn't have a wedding song. We didn't have a wedding song. Yeah, we got married in Vegas. So
Okay, well, you had the Flying Elvises, so it was all
yeah,
right. It was
okay.
okay.
That's what we had. That's what we had. We did have, but what was the song that was out back then? It was Mary J. Blige. It's when she got married to that guy that ended up being wrong for her,
I
but
couldn't. I have no idea.
I forgot the dang song. But it was a Mary J. Blige song. Y'all put it in the comments if you remember the Mary J. Blige song. Be Without You.
Oh, okay. I hear it in my head. I'm not gonna put it in the microphone, but I do hear it in my head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been too strong for too long because I can't be
Uh-huh.
without you, baby. That song. That
Oh,
was
okay.
that was
Okay.
the year he proposed to me.
Oh, okay. How did he propose?
He actually proposed at my cousin's house, and I don't even know if he remembers it. We were at my cousin's house at a barbecue, and we were sitting up and we talked about it. We talked about getting married, so we were par for course. We had a time limit.
Yeah. Yeah, so
We
did
had a
I.
time limit.
Sure
You know,
did.
if we didn't, once that time limit was up, either we gonna push
Yeah.
on, thank you, see you, bye bye, or we gonna get
Yep.
married. There was no exception to it. But it had came to that point, and we were at my cousin's house. We were at the barbecue, hanging out, just chilling, drinking, and all that stuff. And he actually that song came on, and he didn't get down on his knee, but he did ask me to be his. He asked me
Oh,
to marry him.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, ours was anticlimactic. It was nothing like that. Like I said, had moved into had dated for like maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And then we decided we knew we wanted to get married, but we wanted to live together first. So we moved in and it was for a year because I told him I am not going to be your career girlfriend.
Correct.
That's not what's going on. Plus my grandmother was over there having conniptions. They're shacking, they're
Right.
shacking. So it was, and I told her, I said it was just only going to be for a year. And we had already gone and purchased rings, little payment plan, one of the little diamonds, not Diamond Center, but it was something along those lines,
Yep.
Crescent
Yep.
Jewelers.
Yep.
So we did that, but he wouldn't give it to. I mean, I had it, but he wasn't going to present it to me until he was ready. And mind you, we already had our daughter. So my daughter is 33, and we've been
Right.
married 33 years.
3 years. Okay.
But
Do
he
the
said,
math.
yeah, you ain't got to really.
Right.
And he said, I'm not going to get married to you just because you're pregnant and the stress from the family. Not doing it. I'm going to do it in my time. So we already had the rings. We didn't really tell anybody we already had them. We had them. And then one morning, he was like, he made up some cock and bull story. All I know is once he started holding the box, I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I had to act really cool about it. Right. And so one morning, woke up, he asked me to marry him.
Oh, see, it don't take much.
No,
And 33 years exactly.
33
Like,
years later.
exactly. Like we got married in Vegas with Elvis and all that stuff, and
Well, it was
almost
at my
20 years
godmother's.
later.
It was at my godmother's house. We all
See,
got me. Yeah, it wasn't. It was there. So everybody started partying in New Year's Eve and stuff. So it was up in the Oakland Hills.
yep.
So that's where we got married.
I love it. I love it. And we had the little rings too. We didn't. He proposed to me without any rings. We ended up getting the rings after, and I told you it was only like his ring, my ring, probably maybe $200 for our stuff. It wasn't that much. It wasn't a big rock or anything like
It wasn't
that.
any pomp and circumstance.
Hey,
Nowadays, what people are doing, they're having either a justice of the peace or they're having a very, excuse me, intimate wedding with the two of them and the justice or whoever's going to preside over. And then they spend the money to have
right.
the party
Yeah.
or the celebration at the end. I have a friend of mine, she and her then fiance, but her husband, they got married in Monterey on the beach and they had the
Oh, that
clergy
sounds
with them.
beautiful.
And
Yeah. I
it was
love.
just the 2 of them. The 3 of them in
Yeah.
total, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. I did it because I didn't want the stress. I did not want the stress of inviting people,
I didn't
getting
have a choice.
matrons of honor, what do you call them?
Maid of honor, matron,
Maid of
groom.
honor, all that stuff. None of
Yeah,
that. It was just too much stress for me. I didn't like
yeah,
all that stuff. And then for me, it turns into more about the people than us.
yeah,
What
it
do
does.
y'all want to eat? We're going to go
It
here. You have to
wasn't
have
too
all
much of.
this.
Yeah, because it was at my, godmother's home,
Mhm.
it was New Year's Eve, so traditionally we did gumbo. So all we had gumbo, we had a DJ. And like I said, I didn't have a choice in not doing that because
Right.
grandma.
Yeah. She
And
was like,
to this day, I love her not that I want to die anytime soon, but that is my main person. I can't talk about her too long because I get upset, but
right.
I can't wait to see her. I
Yeah.
just love her. She made me so angry sometimes, but I just love that little lady. You think I'm little? She was little.
Oh my
And
gosh.
sorority aficionado. And first she had said, the wedding is going to be in blue and white. I said, oh, I don't think so. And I didn't know, no winter wedding. Are you kidding me?
Right.
No. So I had to put my foot down on certain things. So yeah, we're all Zeta, just in case people didn't know.
Yeah. I knew. I knew. I knew.
Unfinancial. I'll just put it to you like that. They'll be looking me up. I don't see your name on the roster, and you won't.
She's unfinancial, y'all. So don't be going to look for
Yeah,
her.
but she was blue through and through, and so that was what she wanted, and I was just like, no, grandma, we can't do that. Not no winter. It ain't happening.
Right. We not going there. We not
Mm-mm,
going there. I love that.
mm-mm.
I love that.
Yeah,
What else we
yeah.
got?
Let's see. We got a fun fact about Black history.
What we got?
So here's a little known fact to honor Black History Month. Did you know that in the late 1800s, less than 20 years after emancipation, over 70% of Black adults in the U.S. were married?
That's a lot. I think it's down to 30 something or
Yeah.
26% now.
So, yeah, you can't tell me that they had it any easier.
No, not at all. Not at all. But it was a lot harder, but they understood you were stronger together than separate.
Exactly. And again, which is why I brought up the thing about the movie Claudine. They were trying to show that you were financially better off without the man in the house.
Ooh, biggest trick
And
bag they ever sold.
oh, absolutely. Because here you go, when you're raising your kids and you have young men and they see this. So you're raising a son, and what are they seeing?
Yep.
That
Yep.
they don't need to be in the house.
Right.
And now you have different songs now that are out, and I'm sure they were always out, but now they're more in your face. I don't need this. I can do it all by myself. Well, sometimes doing it all by yourself ain't so much fun. You do
Right.
need help.
Right.
And
Right.
it doesn't mean you're a weak person if you are getting help. You're doing it together.
Exactly. A lot of those songs stem from pride. So
Or
that's all
some
we're
of
gonna
those
say.
songs stem from wanting to get paid, and then they get off
That
the
too.
microphone, and then they go
And
back to their man after they done told you didn't need one. And I'm like, I
right.
don't need one. And they up there
Yeah.
booed up. And now
They
look at
have
you.
talked about that. Yeah. Like the Sierras of the world, the Beyoncés of the world, the
Yeah,
Cardi B's of the
don't
world are
I
all
don't follow
married.
them, so
Well,
I
they're all
can't.
married. They're all
Okay.
married. But they all talk about independence, woman independence. But when they go home, they have husbands. So
And I do believe that it's not just one or the other. I am independent, but I also am dependent is at the same time. I'm independent on who I am, my thoughts, my thinking, everything. But again, I'm married, so I have a partner. So
correct.
he is dependent on me, I am dependent on him, but we are independent of each other at the same time.
Correct. You can have separate aspirations or goals, but still maintain a relationship.
Oh, absolutely. Because, like I said, I think for me, I don't know, think my marriage wouldn't work if I was dependent on my husband. He's like, "Ain't you got something to do?" Really. And with his job, he works graveyard.
Right.
So I'm like, "You getting ready to retire? Really? I'm glad, but now you're gonna be home."
You're gonna be
But
home.
I've gotten used to being independent. He does his thing, and then when I was doing a 9 to 5, I would be gone during the day and he would be home. So he had his time, and then in the evening I had my time, and then we link up at some point in time.
Right.
Hey,
Gonna be new.
yeah.
We're gonna do a podcast about it once it happens.
And I still asked him if he wanted to be on, and his answer is still no. So
Yeah. We're just
Okay.
we're gonna talk in spirit.
I'll just have his picture here, and I'll be just talking.
Okay. You and my husband both. Do you really want me to be on there? I was like, yeah, nah.
So I'm not going to
Look
act
at
like you
me.
want me to act. I'm like,
Look at
be
me.
yourself. So he's like,
Yeah, you don't want that. Y'all ain't ready for that. Y'all ain't ready for that.
mm.
That's all I'm gonna say. You guys, I hope you enjoyed this. This might be a two-parter. Yeah, we ran long, but I hope you guys enjoyed this topic of conversation. Again, it was about in honor of Black History Month. We're talking about Black love and in honor of Valentine's Day. Hopefully you guys got inspired. Hopefully we said some things that resonated with you. Let us know. Make sure on the audio side, on Spotify, on iTunes, hit those stars for us. That lets iTunes and Spotify know that you enjoy our content. Vice versa, on
Yep.
social media, on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe to us, share our content. These are all things that help us get into the algorithm that also lets the people know that we're creating this community, and hopefully you have something to say, you have something to say about it, you have something to say about what we discuss. We love all perspectives. We love all comments, whether it be positive or negative. Communication is communication. Let us know what your thoughts are. KayCee, you wanted to say something?
I probably forgot it now.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right. No, it's all right. I'm sure it was very profound, but I've lost it. So that's okay.
Oh my God. But yes, you guys, let us know in the comments. This will air in February, like we said. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Let us know. Give us that thumbs up, share, comment, subscribe, send us a text, email us if you want to let us know about any type of topic you want to talk about. Also in the comments on YouTube, we read it all the time. I try to respond to the comments that are in YouTube. But thank you all for joining us.
Thank
Hopefully
you.
we have disrupt and discussed Black love. So thank you guys again, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.